That's a gun. Come on. Come on. Get out. Get over here. Shay.
Oh, what is there?
Run! Get out! Run! God!
So this is not a normal video for this channel, but yesterday I came closer to violence and death than I've come in a very long time, maybe ever. And as a person with a platform, at least a small platform, however small it is, I feel it's somewhat in my responsibility to come on here, share my honest experience, talk about what happened, and also my reflections in the aftermath. It is currently 7:53 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. This is right around 24 hours exactly after yesterday's incident. This is an ongoing case situation. There will be new details, I'm sure, that come out in the following days, so keep that in mind. I'm working with the information that I have right now. I'll probably upload this in a couple hours. So let's say Sunday night. Okay. So yesterday at 7 p.m., my friend Jaden and I attended the No Kings protest here in Salt Lake City. The march started at around 7 p.m. or so at Pioneer Park, and over the next 50 minutes, we snaked our way through the city streets towards downtown. At 7:54 p.m., I was marching on State Street in between 100 South and 200 South. We were moving north. At this point, I had become separated from my friend Jaden. He had hung back to get some video shots somewhere, and we hadn't been able to catch up since we separated. It was also a pretty hot day. You know, it was like 90 degrees yesterday. I didn't have any water on me. I was getting really thirsty. And so I looked over to my right, coincidentally, and there was this convenience store. And looks like they had some good drinks inside, so I went inside to grab some drinks. In the moment, this felt like a very insignificant decision, but it would prove later to be, I think, maybe one of the most consequential decisions maybe I've ever taken. So the employees in the store were definitely already pretty aware of the massive protest going on outside. They were definitely kind of letting people in a limited capacity, making sure they were, just there to buy stuff basically and not do anything crazy. And I remember I spent 45 to 60 seconds in the store, no more than 90 seconds. And at around 7:56 p.m., all of us in the store and everyone outside, heard 3 loud gunshots.
Oh my God, that's a gun. That's a gun. Come on. Come on. Get out. Get over here. Shay, come here.
I looked outside and I saw hundreds of people running in the opposite direction from which we had been marching.
Oh, what is there?
Run! Get out! Run! God!
This was mass panic and confusion. I've never seen anything like this before. Pretty quickly, the store owners closed and locked the door just to be safe. And also pretty quickly after that, people outside started yelling, "Active shooter, active shooter."
Get out! Move! Get out of the way!
This was where the incident happened. This right here, this is the gas station that I was in. And I remember seeing, it takes a few seconds for people to really realize what's going on. And I remember seeing, look down here. Look, people just starting to run in panic. I just remember, I don't know if this is the right way to react or not. I just remember I felt like a sitting duck in the store. I wanted to get out. I just needed to be in the open where I could run if I needed to. So I left through the back door, which wasn't locked, which led into this parking lot area, and then I eventually pulled my phone out. This is when I start recording. You know, my heart was certainly racing. I was feeling a lot of fear, and I was also feeling this like weird, like decision making of like what do I do? I felt part of me wanted to run and, you know, just to make sure that I would save myself, but also I wanted to, I don't know, help out. I wanted to move towards the situation as well to like see if there's anything that I could do to help. I don't know why I had this instinct. I don't know if it was right or wrong, but that's what I ended up doing. I ended up, you know, cautiously approaching the street from which we heard the gunshots. Police, law enforcement officers were rushing in to the scene. As I came out to the street, I could see one person lying in the road on the pavement. There was a lot of blood, and there was paramedics or people already trying to help this victim.
Officers on the ground secured the scene and began searching for the threats. When they arrived, they found a man down with a gunshot wound and began life-saving efforts. 2 SWAT medics were on scene very quickly and provided those life-saving efforts until Salt Lake City Fire and Gold Cross ambulance arrived and proceeded to take the individual into their care. Despite their efforts, the victim did die at the hospital.
I don't think I've ever seen a dead body in my life, or I've certainly never seen a gunshot victim before in my life. And I think the only reason that I wanted to look directly, at least for a moment, was to, you know, all the worst case scenario thoughts are running through my head, and I wanted to make sure that it wasn't Jaden or someone that I knew. Very selfishly, I just wanted to, you know, to sort of check the box of like, okay, it isn't someone that I know and love. And the victim would later be identified as a 39-year-old man. He was a protester attending the march, and my heart goes out to his family and friends and loved ones who I'm sure are feeling a huge loss right now. The people around me, other protesters, were also in this same state of confusion of, okay, do we help? Is there anything we can do? Do we run for our lives? It started to become known that the suspect, who had been sort of identified or seen was running towards a parking garage area. Law enforcement officers were rushing in to pursue. And after maybe a few minutes or so of just sort of sitting there in like freeze mode, not knowing what to do, I think it started to become clear, like, okay, we're not helping here. We're just, you know, we need to get out of here. So eventually I was able to use texting to make sure Jaden was all right. We met up with Jaden.
Shortly after the shooting, officers and detectives were flagged down near 100 South, 200 East, and there they found a man later identified as 24-year-old Arturo Gamboa.
It's a rifle right here.
Just look at
Hey!
That's him. That's Gamboa right there.
This guy, I just grabbed this from this guy. He's right.
This is the guy that's holding his backpack, which I'm assuming is the backpack that has the rifle in here.
Right there! Get on the fucking ground! Get on the ground! Get out! That's a fucking rifle! That's a fucking goddamn rifle! That guy has fucking blood on his hands! No, I'm staying right here. Come on, Mike, come on.
At the time of his arrest, officers also recovered an AR-15 style rifle, a gas mask, and a backpack. At the time of the incident, we also detained 2 other individuals. These individuals were wearing high visibility neon vests and were armed and possibly part of the event's peacekeeping team. These men saw Gamboa separate from the crowd at one point during the march and move behind a wall where they noticed him pull out a rifle and begin manipulating it.
The peacekeepers drew their firearms and ordered Gamboa to drop the weapon. Gamboa instead lifted the rifle and began running towards the crowd gathered on State Street, holding the weapon in a firing position. In response, one of the peacekeepers fired 3 rounds. 1 round struck Gamboa, while another tragically wounded Mr. Alou. You know, it's weird in the moment. I really didn't feel, certainly in the moment I reacted with like, my heart raced, you know, surge of adrenaline. And after that initial adrenaline rush subsided, I really felt, it was so weird. I didn't feel anything. You know, I called my parents basically to make sure, let them know I was all right so they didn't freak out, see the news before I called them. I called Vivian, my girlfriend, who was not here. She was across the country. Basically just let people know I was all right and just sort of explain the situation to them. It's kind of weird, you know, I felt fine, weirdly. I felt weirdly fine, and then it's been yesterday and I felt fine this morning, and it's been only in the past couple hours that I've actually really started to feel this sort of like aftermath fear and anxiety. Like I've spent the past couple hours just feeling really panicky, and like my body's having this weird like delayed reaction to this incident, you know, which was truthfully very scary. So that is the gas station that I stopped in yesterday, and those 3 cars right there are where the shooting happened yesterday. I think I was probably in the gas station for a total of 60 seconds. I'm not sure how far the distance is between these 2 points right there. All right, so it looks like that the distance between those 2 points, 282 feet. Let's say we're moving 3 miles an hour. I do remember the crowd moving relatively quickly. How long does to walk 282 feet going 3 miles an hour? Approximately 64 seconds to walk 282 feet. Which means that if I had not stopped at this gas station, I very well likely would have been within 20 feet of where it happened, right here. Very close. I'm usually here on YouTube posting positive content about the outdoors, about climbing, about adventure. In this super divisive era that we live in, that has so much political tension, I like to think that my videos can be enjoyed by anyone of any ideology, of any identity. But I also have to recognize that to be in that position and to make those kinds of videos comes from a position of privilege. I get to make non-political, fun videos here on YouTube because the political issues of our day very often do not affect me directly. The color of my skin, my gender, my sexuality, my citizenship status, all keep me pretty insulated from the consequential decisions made by those in power. And I was out at the protest, at the march yesterday, to show my support and solidarity for those who are affected by those consequential decisions. And through the series of unfortunate events that occurred yesterday, I feel I came very close, face to face, with some of these questions and conversations that we're having in our country right now. Yesterday was truthfully terrifying and chaotic and complicated and ultimately tragic. I don't want to go into the weeds about the suspects' motives, their identity. I think there's going to be plenty of speculation about that in the coming days. People will spin it probably in all sorts of directions. I don't know if that's that productive. But what I do know is that yesterday could have been a lot worse. No one carries an AR-15 assault-style weapon with the intention of only killing 1 or 2 people. This is not a weapon for hunting or for self-defense. This is a weapon of mass killing. And thanks to the actions of a few civilians and the law enforcement officers who quickly and effectively responded to the situation, this became under control relatively quickly. Their actions were certainly nothing short of heroic. But the question remains, like, why were they necessary? Whatever your current political beliefs, I think it should be crystal clear, and it is long overdue for this country to come to the realization that these AR-15, that these assault-style weapons should not be available for the general public. And what should also be crystal clear is that the vast majority of protesters yesterday here in Salt Lake City and across the country were peaceful protesters exercising their First Amendment right to criticize the current administration's decision to rip apart families and to detain hardworking, decent people without due process, and also to blatantly neglect and disregard the judicial system's checks and balances on presidential power. I do not agree with everything being said at these protests. In fact, I'm usually pretty apprehensive about the more negative and inflammatory chants, such as fuck Trump, fuck the police, and just any other negative sort of inflammatory pro-hate speech, really. Don't get me wrong, I am all for criticism, and there is a lot that is needed in this country. But I believe the most powerful result from these types of gatherings is the show of support and love and positivity and just general hope for a better future. Despite everything that's been going on in my country for the past, my entire life, pretty much, I'm still a very proud American. I think we do a lot of things right. There are some massive areas for improvement, but I think one of the most patriotic things that you can do as an American is to stand up, use your voice, and speak out against injustice when you see it, and then to work together with as many people as you can to find solutions and fight for a better future. And that's what yesterday was all about, and I think it is a tragedy that, for good reason, people going forward might feel more fear about gathering in this way.
No one should fear coming to a demonstration, a peaceful and lawful demonstration in our city. And what happened last night was sudden and alarming and not representative of our values here in Salt Lake City or in our state here, Utah.
I again want to send my condolences to the friends and family of the victim and anyone else who was affected by this tragedy. I woke up this morning feeling more grateful to be alive than I've felt in a very long time. This incident for me was a very strong reminder to never take anything for granted and to cherish every moment that I get to live on this earth. It is a crazy world that we live in. Has good things, has bad things. It's super complicated. Things are never as simple as Instagram Reels makes it seem. And I really hope we can continue to work together in a productive and peaceful way. All of you guys and me and everyone around me to work to make the world a better place. So, thanks for watching this video, for showing your support, and I will see you in the next video.